Oops. Didn't mean to do that. That's not what I wanted. That's rubbish. This top section up here, that's trim, but there's some very thick connective tissue there, so just cart it on a slant like that, put that in the rubbish. Excuse me. If you see anything big like that, you can just take that out as well. Just don't need that. Okay, that's trim. So the rest of it we have, there's like 2 flat pieces. That's the cut I made by mistake because I got a bit carried away. So we'll just start, just open that out a bit. You can see that there's kind of like 2 big pieces there together, and then there's this odd bit sort of sticking at the end. So I turn it over and you can actually see that's the big biltong piece, and this is a bit for braciola because it's the round bit. It's sort of sticking out above the board. It's sort of sticking, it's like a little mountain, and that bit's more flat. So on this piece, depending on whether it's the bucks or the hinds, if it's the males or the female, there's this little extra muscle sitting on top. So just trim that back and just follow it down to the board, because that will very nicely take off that section, and that's trim. And now we've got two kind of sections. That's that round bit for the bresaola, and that's a flat bit for the biltong. So I'll turn it over again. We're going to find the kind of the seam is sort of presenting itself quite nicely there. You can see the section of meat for the biltong just is a little bit higher, but kind of a ledge. There's a bit of a corner there, so that hints at where the seam is. Just keep cutting down there. And the seam is just slightly underneath the biltong section. So that is your bresaola. It's got a little bit of extra trim on there. Take that off and put it in the trim pile. So that is a nice round piece for bresaola. And what happens when you cure it, we can make it flat, and that's a nice big chunk for making bresaola. So this is the biltong section. And you're familiar with this bit from before, so we have this little section here. That's one bit of biltong. And this bit, I think you did this last time. This is the muscle that sort of folds around it, so if you've got anything like that, trim that off, put it in the rubbish pile. And then just open this out. Take this piece off. And the reason I'm taking it off is so that I can see the sections underneath. Okay, so that's trim. Okay, so here we have that section with that little bit of muscle sort of attached to it, so just follow that seam. Okay, so apart from the trim, these are the main cuts. Bresaola, that nice round chunky bit. Don't worry about trimming it because that's going to get dried and it'll be fine. Just save yourself a bit of time with that. That's a nice round sort of egg-shaped piece. That's going to be for bresaola. Biltong, 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 biltong. And I'll show you how to trim the biltong. Okay, so putting those bits to the side. You see there's quite a lot of silver skin on this one. I'll show you the next one. I'll do it upside down. I'll do it like the fish skinning business. Okay, now that has quite a lot of silver skin in there, so I'm going to do that fish skinning business on it. See if I can release a bit of decent lean. So that's the silver skin. It's going in the rubbish. And that's a bit of lean going in the trim pile. Okay, and this section is the bit with the silver side. So I've turned it over, and the way you do have to give up a little bit of meat in order to get hold of this thing. Just turn the knife. Just keep the knife, keep the handle off the edge of the bench, because if the handle's on the edge of the bench, the knife blade lifts, so you leave meat there. And in order to get it what you want, you need the blade as flat as possible on the bench. So that's the silver skin that goes in the rubbish pile. Okay, so we have an awful lot of silver skin on this side as well. So we're making biltong, and it's a very fine product. So we can invest a bit of time in tidying this up. And up at this end is kind of, don't like the look of that, so I'm just going to put that in the rubbish pile. Right. Okay. So back to removing the silver skin. I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. It's going to get a little bit of meat that's going to have to be sacrificed, and then a knife super flat on the board. Now keep the tension, keep pulling on that skin, keep the knife beautifully flat, and with any luck, silver skin comes away like that. And this is just practice. That's all it is. There's nothing magic to it. On this side we have a little bit of silver. This is kind of that weird membraney stuff. We're going to do the same thing with that as well. Okay. Let me just show it. I can't even find it now. Where's it gone? Is that it? Anyway, so there, that's an awful lot better than it was before. This is a bit thin at this end, so I'll just trim that off, put it in the trim pile. Last little bit of finesse there, and there's a little bit of skin left on that side which I'll trim off, and that goes in the trim pile as well. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, so I'm just going to... When you cut it in half, you cut it in half by your best estimate of the weights, because the weights is more important than the size. So that's 2 pieces built on, ready to go into cure. This is the little bit that came off the side. So again, we'll do the fish skinning technique. And there's about 3 sides to this cut, which is quite annoying because it's very small. But this is a really, really good selling product, and it's worth putting the effort in for this. Tiny bit there, and this venison's so soft you can almost kind of peel it off. It's not the most time efficient way of doing it though. Okay, so what else have we got? A little bit on there, a little bit of silver skin on the other side, so get underneath again. Can't really get a grip on that at the end, so I'm just gonna... This is where you can cut yourself, because you've got your hand close to the knife edge, you've got your fingers close to the knife edge, so just be super careful. And it's really difficult to do that with gloves on because you need to be able to feel the little skins. Okay, that'll do. I'm happy with that. Right, this bit, so you can see at the end here there's a lot of silver skin all around the end. So we lay that down flat on the bench and just get the knife tip between the skin and the lean. They're just freeing up that silver skin. Okay. There we are. So that's the silver skin pretty freed up from the end. It's almost like peeling a banana. So I'm going to put that on the bench nice and flat. Might need to just free up that bit. And this is in preparation for doing stripping that silver skin off, like the fish skinning technique. Knife flat. There we are. Okay, so we've got most of that off. Just take that there, very nice. Okay, this has also got kind of like an additional skin on the outside, so if you can, just give that a bit of a... give that a bit of a trim up. This skin here on the outside is very thin, so that can go in the trim pile. I'm not going to discard that. Okay, I'm just going to take off this little bit here. That's quite tough. I'm going to put that in the rubbish pile. Okay, so a bit more silver skin. This is nice and flat though. It should be an awful lot easier. Holding the skin, just moving the knife to and fro. That's not bad. And this little bit. Yep, happy with that. And then there's also a little bit here. Just going to see if I can get this silver skin off here, but I don't think I can. Not like this. Nah, okay. Okay, I can go and trim. Right, there we are. That's another piece of biltong. And this again, when you cut this in half, just make sure that you've got kind of like a feel for the size of the cut, because they're kind of not symmetrical. It kind of flares out a bit at the end, so just kind of get a feel for it, because if you can cut it in half by weight almost exactly, then that makes it so much easier to sell. There we are, 2 lovely big bits of venison for the biltong. Righty-ho. So this is the last little bit that I think you put in the trim last time. This is quite a handy little bit because it makes quite a nice chunk. It is, just trim that off that way, because that's an extra little bit. You'll get used to doing this. It's kind of like the trickiest bit. And here, there's this, you need to make a diagonal cut in there, because this bit is all a bit not suitable for biltong. I'll put that in the trim pile. There's nothing too nasty in there. Okay, and there is another piece of biltong. It doesn't look as beautiful as the rest, but it doesn't matter because this goes into packs where people are not bothered about the individual weight. But with these guys, when we sell those on the store, they're sold by weight, so we need to know what those weights are. But these bits, we just put them all together in a bag and sell them as half kilo or a kilo. So that's not quite as critical. Okay, and that's the bresaola. So there we are. That's that. Yeah.